Hey, when you finish cooking them vegetables down, you want them things singing Bone Thugs in Harmony. See, you at the crossroads. Do you want them cooked that much?
You want them just like Uncle Charles, just like The point of the Trinity is to sacrifice the vegetables to the dish. You cook them to death. You murder them.
That pun intended?
No, the onion is the king of vegetables.
Yeah,
it is. Ain't no big three. It's just big me. That's King Onion right there. That's things that nightmares are made of.
We can't cook.
Not having onions in the house.
I'm not going to throw any names out there, but there's somebody on YouTube that claims to have expertise in Southern cuisine that chops his vegetables like he about to make some fajitas. I actually think his chop is too big for fajitas.
It is.
It is, correct. That shit makes no sense, son.
No.
In order to cook good food, you have to cook bad food.
And that's how you become a great cook.
Exactly.
By trial and error. No one is born a great cook.
Somebody told me this, like the green bell pepper is the red delicious apple of the vegetable world. It is the least flavored pepper out there.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that question. Like, did we know that already?
No.
Or is that something our ancestors just told us, oh, no, baby, that's not going to go with that. You do this.
They right over your shoulder, right?
All the time.
No, like the
appreciate y'all.
We just talked this out. This is why I love doing this podcast. Hello and welcome to Stir in the Pot podcast, a podcast all about discussing controversial food subjects, historical aspects of food, and pretty much everything else food and cooking related. Let me start by introducing my co-hosts. First up, we have Mr. Barbecue Brand, our resident pitmaster and a past guest on Food Network's Barbecue USA. Welcome, Barbecue Brand.
What it do? I am Barbecue.
Next up, we have Mr. Brandon D., our food science nerd and Southern food expert. Welcome, Brandon D.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody.
I am KCP, your host and cookie queen. Tonight's topic is all about something all Cajun and Creoles use in their cooking, the Holy Trinity.
Hallelujah.
So let's go on a journey and explore the details of how important this ingredient is, not only to Southern cuisine, but also all over the world. I want to start our discussion with a rather important question. What exactly is the Trinity? Most people would answer this as saying onion, celery, and bell pepper. But what exactly is it? Like an ingredient of combined ingredients? Or is it considered a starter for your dish? Let's discuss this.
It's a base. It's the base for your dish. That's what it is. I mean, the thing about these things, the onion, the celery, and the bell pepper, all play a very specific role. And when they're cooked in a specific way, they change how the flavor. They change the base flavor of your dish. If you go from, let's say, cooking a Trinity, you start and you barely cook it. That's going to be a very different flavor from a Trinity that's been very deeply cooked, where the onions are caramelized, right?
Yeah.
Or say I go to a translucent stage where the onions are not caramelized or nothing is. So the it's not only important your composition, but the state that you take your Trinity to and the dish that you want. So some dishes, like let's say if you're making like a South Louisiana style rice and gravy, requires that you basically take the onions past caramelization, past browning, almost to burn.
Obliteration.
Destruction. You're destroying onion. You're destroying the onions. You're breaking it down so far, and you're changing the onion so much to where it becomes savory to a point past being savory. That's the beauty of it. Onions, the longer you cook them, the less oniony they become, and the more sweet and savory they become. So the cooking process changes the onion so much, it brings it to a different level. So how you cook the Trinity is going to deeply impact how the flavor of your dish. So that's and also and everything plays a specific role. The onion is your savory element. The peppers are your bittering agent. Peppers have a bitter flavor. So bittering agents make food more savory. And they also add a little bit of sugar, a little bit of heat, if you use, depending what kind of pepper you use. And then you have celery, which celery has nitrates in it, and it really enhances the flavor of meat. Is really what's amazing about celery. Celery is a meat flavor enhancer.
Mm-hmm.
So
you'll get a little natural sweetness from it too.
Exactly. So, but it's got like a very, once again, if people are thinking raw celery versus cooked celery, all these things, as you cook them, the flavors become much more complex.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's the foundation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're building a house. You got to put down that foundation first. You gotta box up that area, pour your cement. You can't do anything else to that house until you get that cement right. If the cement ain't right, the house gonna fall. So when you got those onions, that bell pepper, that celery, you cooking it down the way that you're supposed to. You're just building that base for your dish, and it's just gotta be cooked properly. Like B said, you gotta obliterate those onions. That's the reason that the ratio is that the way that it is. You want to make sure that there's way more onion than there is bell pepper, because bell pepper is your bittering agent. Celery adds a different element to the dish, but it's all onions. You gotta cook those onions down. Right. That's where you're getting it from.
Then Barbecue Brand brings up a very important point, guys. Ratio. In Louisiana, there's more onion than pepper and celery. A good ratio would be 2 cups. So you're doing 2 cups. 2 cups of onion, 1 cup of bell pepper, 1 cup of celery. More onion. You can put too many peppers in something. It's really hard to over onion something when you cook it as much in the method that we cook in South Louisiana. It's really hard to over onion things. For example, like something like sticky chicken, which is made with way more onions than most dishes. I mean, it's a lot of onions in sticky chicken, but it doesn't turn it into something that's just unbearably oniony. It's not the raw onion flavor. It is a cooked onion. And in Louisiana, we typically use yellow onions or sweet onions.
Yeah.
Right. The Vidalia.
Yellow onions work. The Spanish onion or the sweet onion. Red onions, we don't use red onions typically. But this is the interesting thing about the onion family. You can actually interchange onions, which you want. I mean, if you like, we use a lot of shallots to mix with our onions because shallots give a slightly different flavor.
Definitely. Just circling back a little bit, I have a question. So you were talking about sticky chicken. What is the actual name of this dish? Because I don't remember this when I was growing up.
I don't remember it either.
Does anybody know like a real name for this? Is there like a Cajun name for this? Like
no,
it's just sticky. Where did this come from? It's Cajun as hell, but I don't remember this. Like I'm not that old.
I've only heard sticky chicken. That's all I've ever heard. Yeah, I don't know.
It's basically a chicken stew with a lot more onion. I mean, not a chicken gravy with a lot more onions.
Yeah, definitely more of a gravy than a stew for sure.
Yeah, there's no roux in it. There's this roux-less dish. So
yeah, but sorry, I just had to ask that because
no, I mean, I don't know.
I don't remember this.
I don't
not to be confused with the Asian version of sticky chicken.
No. Right? No, completely different. Yeah, that's why I was like, is there like a Cajun name for this dish, or is this?
My mom never cooked it. Really,
mine either.
It seems to be something new.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't remember anybody ever making this until I was an adult. You know?
Right. But
I mean, I haven't been an adult for that long.
It's good. I can tell you that. I was older when I'm not going to say my age, not going to date myself, but I think I first made sticky chicken probably about 2 years ago. It was a recent thing. And I had a bunch of chopped onions. And I was like, what am I going to do with this? I was like, oh man, I could just make sticky chicken. That'll be easy. So, but hey, it's good. I mean, man.
Fun fact, I have not made sticky chicken, nor have I had sticky chicken. I've only heard of sticky chicken.
Man, it's just good. Just a bunch of a lot of onions and chicken thighs. I mean, that's pretty much all you have to do.
Hashtag thighs.
Yeah, had chicken thoughts appear once again. So it's basically be is like you making you brown the onions pretty well, but not black onions, caramelized onions, and then you add chicken and you just basically cook it and you just reduce it down to where that sugar and that onion kind of gets it nice and coated, and that's pretty much it, man. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It like he came back from rodeo competition with like I don't know, like a 10-gallon Ziploc bag full of chopped onions. Like, what the hell are we supposed to do with this?
I had 10 pounds of onions, buddy. I was like, I'm gonna figure out a purpose for this.
Man, y'all got stuff in bulk whenever y'all go to rodeo.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So I was like, I got 10 pounds of onions. I'm gonna make something out of this. Something, I was the only person that grabbed the onions was the person from Louisiana. I said, I can use this.
Oh yeah, it won't go to waste. I promise you.
I've never had a rotten onion in my refrigerator in my life. Never happened.
No, we go through them way too fast.
Hey, we're uncomfortable when we run out of onions. It's like we are out of onions to the store. Doesn't matter. It's like,
that's a fact. That's a fact.
Big fact.
That's things that nightmares are made of.
We can't cook.
Not having onions in the house.
No.
What you gonna make?
Yeah.
Right.
So this week I saw something on Facebook and it said something like, what are like 5 words that will take your Cajun card away? And I was like, I don't like onions. I was totally joking, but what Cajun doesn't like onions?
Oh, man.
It's so important.
The onion is the king of vegetables.
Yeah.
It is.
The royal family of vegetables is the allium family. Onion, garlic, leeks, shallots are the king. That's the green onions. That's the king of the vegetable world, man. I mean, they have the most flavor. Onions are so complex when they get cooked. And a raw onion is so different from a cooked onion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Vastly different.
Vastly different.
We just finished talking about ratio, right? And we're not the only. And we're going to get into this, but we're not the only ones that uses onions in their base, and onion is king there too.
Yeah, all over the world. I mean,
it was worldwide. It's just the onion just gives so much flavor.
Yeah.
Yep.
It really does. So I just wanted to say something real quick. So we call it the Trinity. We call it the Holy Trinity. This actually was made popular by Chef Chef Paul Prudhomme in the 80s. He's the one that kind of coined that term, the Cajun Trinity or the Holy Trinity.
Chef Paul P. Okay.
Yeah, from the Opelousas, St. Landry.
I almost said the inner pronunciation of Opelousas. Y'all can't know that.
No,
I'm not gonna say that one. We just gonna call it Opelousas.
Opelousas.
St. Landry Parish.
Yeah. So yeah, he kind of coined that, but and let's see, what did they say? It's not official, but they say that garlic is an addition to the Holy Trinity, and garlic can be known as the Pope.
Correct.
Which is funny. So, but yeah, deep Catholic roots in Louisiana and cooking, apparently.
Right. And the reason for the garlic why garlic is added later is because garlic is not cooked as much as the Trinity.
Right.
You put garlic with the Trinity to start with, unless you're doing a very light going to translucent. Brown garlic is kind of bizarre flavor, and if you burn it, it's kind of acrid.
Oh,
it's gross.
Oh yeah, no,
so
it's
you don't
not
want
good.
to
throw the pot.
Garlic roasted is very good. Garlic burned is very bad.
Not a good idea.
Right.
So you go from like super delicious to just it's just a bad flavor.
Yeah, so and that high heat garlic is just not going to stand up to it. So you got to add that later.
And we talking like fresh garlic, not that garlic.
Don't use garlic. Stop.
Yeah.
Just stop, people.
Don't buy that.
The reason why you don't want to use garlic is acidified. You have to acidify garlic to jar it, and it changes the flavor. It makes it weird. Please stop using it. Just don't.
Yeah. Just don't. Take the 5 extra minutes and just smash your garlic, cut it up. Just do it.
Look, I buy pre-peeled garlic because I hate peeling garlic.
Yeah.
Same.
No shame in that game.
You could also buy refrigerated garlic paste. That's also acceptable too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely acceptable.
I mentioned this before. One of the things that I do is we will go into Costco and get one of those I don't know, this is like a 5-pound bag of peeled garlic.
Yes.
And we put it not individual garlic cloves, but we'll separate it to where there's, I don't know, 6 to 8 garlic cloves in each little bag. And we vacuum seal those and freeze that.
That's smart. That's a good idea.
And we just pull out garlic whenever we need it,
No, we love our garlic in Louisiana too. I mean, like, you talk about, like, people say I use 2 or 3 cloves. I'm like, I'm using a whole head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, some dishes, like, I know when I make, like, etouffees, it's typically a whole head of garlic.
Yeah.
If you ever see a recipe, there's certain ingredients that you just automatically you don't even have to look at nothing else that's going on. You're automatically doubling or tripling the amount.
Yeah.
Garlic is one of those things.
Garlic.
Cinnamon is another.
Oh God! Don't even get me started.
Yeah, we're not gonna go down that road, but it just.
Yeah, baking recipes just drive me nuts with vanilla and cinnamon. Like, who uses a teaspoon of vanilla? Seriously, you just want to whisper? Okay, I'll get off my. We're not going down. No,
I mean, it's a good point though, and it's just the thing. Like, there are certain flavors where it just doesn't hurt. I mean, you could definitely overuse vanilla. Don't get me wrong, but you have to kind of know your recipe. But like, this is the same thing with onion. It's really, really hard to use onion. If you overuse onion, I would say it's probably undercooked rather than you use too much.
I agree.
Right. Absolutely, 1,000%. You undercooked it. You didn't put too much. You undercooked what you did have in the pot.
Yeah.
But bell pepper you can overuse. There's not enough cooking that can save too much bell pepper. It all varies. Some people are more I am more sensitive to bitter flavors than, say, Casey or Brandon is. So me having a lot of peppers and stuff is not really my jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just inherently bitter. Like it's a unripe, it's kind of underdeveloped pepper. You know,
right.
It's
it's but it's important. The flavor is important.
Yeah, it is. It is. In some cases it could be an inferior pepper, but that's a topic for another day.
Look, somebody told me this, like the green bell pepper is the red delicious apple of the vegetable world. It is the least flavored pepper out there.
Damn,
if you want the pepper with the least amount of flavor, it is the green bell pepper. We'll be discussing more about green bell pepper later. But green bell pepper is not great. Guys, it's not.
Damn, that's true.
But it does work. But you could do better.
It does.
It works. It definitely works. But, that bitter flavor has its place in this.
It does. It does.
It cuts through rich foods. That's the whole thing.
But there's also peppers that have that flavor and more. So,
and more.
But we'll go into that later.
Yeah.
So let's talk about all the different starters around the world, all the parent starters to the Trinity. So you have the French, you have the Spanish, sofrito. You have Italian. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced
too. Sofrito too.
And there's a German one, and I'm gonna attempt this. Suppengrün.
Ooh, man, that's pretty good. I couldn't tell you any different. That's what it is.
I mean, I did take some German in college.
Okay,
so
more than I did, which was 0. So
yeah.
I know that U with the 2 dots is ooh.
Ooh.
That's called a Lowenbrow, right?
Lowenbrow. That I don't remember.
I don't know. I remember
something like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because I watched the behind the music on Motley Crue, and they put the Lowenbrow over it because they were drinking something like, and they said, "Let's put that over the Crue so it looks cool."
Oh God.
Wait, where do you want to start? Because this goes directly into what I was talking about earlier with Mirepoix.
Yeah.
Onion is king there.
Let's start there.
Onion is king in Mirepoix.
Let's start with French.
French and Spanish and Italian are core to Louisiana cooking.
Yeah,
it really is. The Italians and even German. I mean, all of these are so relevant. Let's start with the Mirepoix French, man.
Yeah, I say we start with that. So the only difference with the French Mirepoix is that it has carrots instead of bell peppers.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the whole one of the theories on why Louisiana's Trinity doesn't have the carrots is because it wasn't readily available. It wasn't easy to grow in Louisiana soil
all the time.
Yeah.
How many times have we said that on this podcast about accessibility when it comes to food?
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Access determines food ingredients, man.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, and you can't, and like, if, I don't know, some people are allergic to peppers. If you want to cook a Cajun dish and not use the peppers, you absolutely can use a mirepoix. It will work.
Yep. It definitely works. So Chef John Folse, he has that amazing cookbook that we have, the Encyclopedia of Cajun. I can't remember the whole name.
Cajun and Creole cuisine.
There you go. It's like thicker than a Snicker. He said that.
God,
that dude, man.
Oh,
we should insert that clip.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's happening.
I'm working on 3 hours of sleep here.
Oh, that's definitely happening.
On the audio tape, trying to pick her up and saying, "Girl, you're thicker than a bowl of oatmeal."
Never knock a man's hustle. So, don't knock his game, man.
All right. Let me start that thought over.
Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, Chef John Folse.
Chef John Folse said Louisiana's original settlers were French and Spanish, so it seems likely that the Cajun Holy Trinity emerged from which they knew onions and celery. Because carrots were not readily available, bell pepper was a great substitute. So that's just what it is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I actually use a mirepoix all the time because I make my own homemade chicken injection, and it starts with that base, that mirepoix. Yep. So I love it.
I use a mirepoix for stocks.
Yeah,
I don't use bell pepper for making stock. I use carrots.
No. Yeah, because carrots have that sweetness that kind of carries through, which actually makes me kind of sit back and think about like how is it that carrots were replaced by bell pepper? I mean, I think totally different flavors.
But carrots have like that earthy flavor to it, right? It's got that kind of
I can see that.
And that's the bell pepper. A bell pepper has like with the bitterness. Carrot's a little bit bitter, not quite as bitter as a but it's got that earthy flavor to it, that deep flavor. But carrots, once again, change significantly when they're cooked.
Yeah, it's true. It's definitely true.
So do peppers, but carrot, a raw carrot versus a cooked carrot, that's a deep, but it gives that flavor depth with that earthy.
Is true. But wouldn't a cooked carrot have more sweetness as it cooks versus raw?
A mirepoix is a little bit sweeter than a Trinity.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, there you go.
Yeah, it is.
That's what I was just wondering.
A mirepoix is a little bit sweeter, which is why if you're making like something like spaghetti, like pasta, like a ragu or something, right, I would recommend a mirepoix over a Trinity. Even if you're a Cajun and you like to start your spaghetti with onions, peppers, and celery. Mm-hmm. I would say start it with onions, carrots, and celery.
Yeah,
will make a big difference. I typically don't, and when I make ragus, I typically don't use peppers. Not bell peppers. Yeah. Anyway, I use a mirepoix or sofrito because it's Italian.
Where have I heard this? Somebody told me like you can start off with adding carrots in like a ragu or spaghetti type sauce, and you can take those carrots and almost like shave them down to where they're nothing and put them in and just have them cook down into the sauce.
I rarely make any tomato based dish without carrots.
Yeah,
always have carrots.
Yeah,
why? It just works. It just works. The flavor of the carrot with the tomato really works. Mm-hmm. And what you can do, you can actually, if you want to add it to your sauce, you can actually cook carrots and then put them in a food processor, grind them up, add them to your sauce. No one will ever notice that they're there. They will just notice that your sauce is awesome.
Yep. Like hiding vegetables from kids.
Exactly.
That's it.
I don't eat carrots. I don't eat carrots. Yeah, whatever. You don't know what you don't.
Yeah, you think
you don't know what you like.
You don't eat onions either, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my kids are the same way. They quick to tell me what they don't eat. Y'all just don't know Daddy be in the kitchen.
Look.
Oh, you like that?
Think about that. I don't really care for raw onion either.
I mean, unless you eating some like pico.
Yeah.
Nobody want to eat a raw onion.
But it works in there.
Or barbecue.
Yeah, because of the acidity in pico.
Yeah, here in Texas, I still don't really understand it. I don't understand it. Raw onions, like sliced raw onions with pickles, with barbecue. That's how it's served here.
Oh,
it works.
Yeah. It just because of that barbecue. Barbecue is rich.
Yeah,
all of that fatty meat.
I can get behind the pickles.
The pickles, I get it. Yeah, so I think but even the bitterness of like a raw onion, I think just anything is kind of helping to kind of break that stuff up.
Yeah,
I'm not. Look,
yeah,
I'm not big on the raw onions either.
Yeah.
I think it might just be there just for color or just a little contrast. But
people like to take bread and make like sandwiches out of it.
I can get your bread. Yeah, I get that. You want a little crunch.
But see, I'm a little bit different. If Barbecue Brand had a place, all of my onions would be caramelized or at least grilled. I'm not gonna slice up some raw onions. Look, y'all can come for me if y'all want. Y'all can say, I don't care. Barbecue Brand would throw a little something extra on the plate because that's how I'm coming.
I tell you what does.
Now y'all do better now.
No, yeah, there you go. But a pickled onion works really well with barbecue too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pickled onions work well with barbecue.
Now I can get behind
Now y'all
that.
doing something. The ones that's pickling your onions, now y'all doing something.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Because it's too easy not to. Y'all going through all of this stuff. Now I know we're not on, but we're just talking about onions. We're not on barbecue, but I know how I get.
Right.
It's too easy to pickle your own onions, especially y'all doing all of this stuff. Y'all getting up at the crack ass of dawn, throwing meat on the pit, doing all of these things. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is make you a little quick brine, throw your onions in there, boom, you're ready for service.
Yeah, a quick pickle is real easy. Just some, like you said, make a brine, and then you just cook it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, that's a quick. I do quick pickles all the time.
Yeah.
Yep. It's worth the effort for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So jumping back into this, what is in the Spanish sofrito? Is it that makes it so different?
The same?
Is it?
I'm a little less familiar with sofrito than I am of mirepoix.
Spanish, yeah. I know like if you're talking about like Caribbean food or like Mexican food, or they normally have they have peppers in theirs.
Yeah. So the Italian version often adding garlic, leeks, and parsley to the mix. And then you have the soup and grune, which has leeks and celeriac and carrots.
Hold on, say that again. Leeks and what?
Celery root.
Celeriac.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that's actually now like okay, yeah, but like this brings up a good
what are they doing with the stalks? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. This brings up a good point though.
I'm gonna tell you in a second.
Okay.
Look, this brings up a good point. Leeks are part of the allium family. They're related to onions.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain amount of substitution you could do with your onions. I mean, like I use shallots all the time in addition to yellow onions because I really love the flavor of shallots. I feel they give a great flavor depth to dishes when you add shallots to it. If you add shallots and onions, you can add shallots with onions. You can add shallots with onions and leeks.
Mm-hmm.
None of this is going to hurt. You can mix red onion with green, with white onion, with yellow onion, with sweet onion. It'll just change it slightly and make it a little bit more complex, but it won't hurt it.
I find that shallots give off a great flavor sooner. Like you don't have to cook down shallots as much as you do onions in order to get good flavor from it.
I agree.
This is why that a lot of French pan sauces are made with shallot, not onion.
That's correct. Yep.
Quick.
It's quicker.
You mince shallot up real fine. You throw it in there, and it's really good, really quick. You can cook shallot. I don't know. They develop flavor quicker. That's a good point.
Yeah,
it's an excellent point.
Yeah. So one thing that I've heard, and I haven't really tested this myself because I don't really pay attention much when I'm cooking with celery, but the outside stalks of celery, they say are a little bit more bitter than, or a little bit more pungent in flavor than the inside stalks of celery. It's a little bit more mild.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I can definitely understand that. I mean, the insides are more like the baby part of it. You know, like they're kind of shielded from the outside, whereas the outside ones have, they're
the older,
more
it's
exposed.
probably the older ones too. Yeah,
more exposed to the elements versus the interior ones. That's like what is it? Cauliflower. Cauliflower is actually colorful, but they cover it with the leaves so it doesn't turn color, so it stays white. So I can see that where it stays more tender. Anyway, side note.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, when you cut celery, you think about the outer stalks are a little drier too.
Yeah.
There's just less water.
That's true.
They're tough. Yeah, you gotta peel those thick stalks. I can't stand those strings. Make me mad.
Could tie something up with them things.
For real. Tie all my teeth up. I don't like celery to that. I mean, I like if you go eat some wings, I like to have my celery and my carrots when I'm eating wings, right?
Nah, not with you on that.
Nope.
No,
I don't eat celery.
The only way I eat celery is when you chop it up and throw it in something and cook it for a long time. And it better not be rough chopped either.
Man, look, I love celery for what it does for cooking food, but I couldn't give a flying fuck about raw celery. I don't care. Shit is terrible. Y'all know Brandon D's just gonna tell it like it is, man. Like I'm not mincing words. I hate raw celery. You will never. I've tried it so many times. I've tried it more than twice, which is all you need to try it. No, but cooked, man, it works so well in cooking. I love celery for cooking, man.
Yeah, everything has its place. It's like
yes.
That's why we do the things we do. It's crazy. You think about down here in Cajun cooking. A lot of us down here just understand, and even if we don't understand that, we understand sometimes down here, we really understand flavors and how things are. We know that even if you don't understand the intricate details about an ingredient, you know that this is not going to be right until I cook this down enough.
Exactly.
It's not going to be right because in order to cook good food, you have to cook bad food. And I promise you, at some point, you've done the wrong thing. And you're like, you know what? I'm not doing that again.
Right. Yep.
So I'm going to do it the right way. And this is why.
And that's how you become a great cook.
Exactly.
By trial and error. No one is born a great cook. You have to experiment. You have to fail to succeed.
The other thing about being a great cook is you have to learn how to taste.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to taste food, and you have to learn how to taste, and you have to taste good food. People that can't cook usually don't taste good food.
I mean,
eat good food, and you'll want to cook good food. It's gonna motivate you to cook good food.
I don't know. Some people got some broke mouths. I'm just saying.
Man,
I'm just saying.
That's a fact.
You just have to realize as far as no taste or whatever.
Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Look, on the distribution scale, we're just way to the extreme on being into food. So that's just. There's also people that could just give a shit less about food, so they're on the other side.
Yeah. Well,
some people saying they can cook and all they can do is some craft dinner. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Which I'm not putting down craft dinner, but like if that's the height of your culinary expertise, don't come at me. Don't come at me, bro.
No. So for y'all that don't know, I think everybody knows by now, but if you're listening to this, there's been a lot of things going on over the past month. Barbecue brand, took a vacation to Italy. I tore I didn't tear it. I ruptured my Achilles in Italy. So I've been going to a physical therapist after I had surgery and all of that, right? I was talking to my physical therapist today about cooking because he's big into barbecue. So, oh man, let's talk barbecue while you stretching out my tendon, right? Exactly. So we started talking about Traegers and pellet smokers and all of these different types of cookers and things. And I said,
vapors,
right. I told him, I said, you know what? I have a pellet smoker at home and I use it all of the time because a lot of times I want to cook something. I want a little smoke on it. I'm trying to get some dinner out. So I use it. I don't have the time, right? But when it comes to technique and learning how to cook things, I can do more than just turn on an oven and throw some meat on it. So I don't want anybody ever coming to me talking about they're a better pit master than me if you can't manage a fire. So when we talk about cooking, we talk about technique, we talk about know-how. You can't skip the process. You got to learn how to do these things and why things are happening throughout the cooking process in order for you to cook better food. So that's why we're here, to just kind of teach you and talk to you about it.
Just
dialogue. So
learn to love the process because it is a process. I mean, it's just like, look, I am not having a good time. I mean, cutting celery and onions and garlic and chopping up vegetables, it's not fun, but it's part of my process. It's getting to where I need to go. I got to chop all this stuff up. I got to get my dice right. I'm going to be real picky about how I dice stuff, and I'm getting everything ready to go. And it's just part of it's the ritual of it that I enjoy. Now, the actual process, man, that's why I use that Vidalia chopper, because it makes things a lot easier. Whew. It's like, if
she
it's
was
quick.
Waiting on it.
I was waiting on it.
Stole my thunder.
I'm not going to skip
Vidalia chopper. If you want to do a little sponsorship,
holla at us, please.
I'll let you out. Yeah, remember, I can give you some design improvements too, because I've bought like 5 of these things.
Yeah. Anyway,
but I keep buying them because they work good, but they don't work forever.
We're gonna have Barbecue Brand put up like a little Vidalia chopper.
Right.
Vidalia chopper counter.
Yeah.
But
chopper,
it's
chopper style.
Chopper style. Oh.
Y'all really need to just go ahead and sponsor us now. We about to come on now.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just it's part of you got to learn how to love the process, man. You love the process, and
that's it. You got to. Yep. You can't celebrate winning the game without shooting in the gym.
Yeah, right.
Monday through Friday.
Hey, you gotta
chop your vegetables.
You gotta put in the work. Cook them. Absolutely. You just learning the process, just seeing how everything kind of melds together and cooks together, and the flavors that come out of this process. It's worth it, just learning and then building flavor on top of that. That's what's so great about cooking. You get to create all these different flavor combinations, and I don't know, it's just, I find it fascinating to cook,
Yeah, I think what you ultimately want to do is I want you to call, I guess you could call it freeform cooking. Like you don't have a set recipe. You can just go and make flavors when you want them.
Yeah.
You just know, like, if I pick this, if I have these things, I pick these things, cook them in this way, and cook the, whatever protein you're cooking and cook that correctly. I can achieve something that's good without following a recipe.
Yep.
It's really inherently in a lot of us to be able to take something from scratch, just raw ingredients, and nurture it, apply technique, and then have it progress to something that is really, really good and a really, really good product in the end. It's like, I hate to compare it to like raising a child or, growing a garden, but it's that along that same kind of concept. You're taking something that isn't anything on its own, and then you're putting it together, and then you're creating something that is delicious.
Right.
How can you not love that? I don't know. Maybe it's just not in everybody, but
when you cook with love, it shows.
And this is a great point where we're talking about the Trinity Mirepoix. These things are just bases on their own. They're cooked vegetables, but in dishes they add they're a base to so many dishes. It's amazing that a lot of dishes, even food that you wouldn't think. I mean, how many people use onions as a base? I mean, Indian food onion's the base.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
you can't go wrong.
Middle Eastern food, garlic, celery, peppers, all that stuff is used too. I mean, all this is all, all this stuff is related. Everybody uses this stuff, and it's, you're making something wildly different from the same base.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. I know y'all may not know what I'm talking about, but he had a song when he said, "Ain't no big three, it's just big me." That's King Onion right there.
Yeah.
For real.
It is.
Onion is king. It's king of vegetables, absolutely. And it rules over everything, because it's involved in every cooking, but it's not involved in baking, not sweet stuff.
No.
Onion has to step aside there's no sweet onion in baking.
No, there's no, the allium family, none of them can ever be incorporated into a dessert. Ever.
No.
Ever.
No.
It's impossible. No. Because the more you cook an onion, the sweeter it gets. But the savoriness increases as well. Yeah. So it's the ultimate sweet, savory food.
Yeah.
It gets super sweet, but the savory level, there's nothing that can cover up that's a savory flavor.
Exactly.
No.
So I have a really interesting question for you guys. So we're talking about, cooking the Trinity or a mirepoix, whatever we have, or that soupe groune.
Which is that's pretty interesting.
Right.
That pronunciation is getting different every time.
I do it fast.
But hey, I love celery root.
Yeah, celery root is good. I mean, but anyway, so my question is, what is the preferred fat to cook your Trinity in, to cook your mirepoix in? Is it butter? Is it going to be like your olive oil, your avocado oil, those kinds of things? So
depends what you're making.
Depends on what you're making.
Yep.
I could tell you this: if you're making something like a meat-based dish, if you're making something like a gravy or like a rice
chicken
dressing, something like rice dressing. The best fat to cook your Trinity in is like duck fat.
Oh, well, I mean, duck fat is amazing.
Poultry fat is probably, if you're making like a stuffing or a dressing,
right?
If you're making that, the best thing to cook your mirepoix or your Trinity in is poultry fat. Duck fat, turkey fat. Turkey fat's hard to find. Duck fat's just easy because they make gobs of duck fat and you just get it on Amazon. Chicken fat's hard to find too, but duck fat's pretty easy to find because ducks have a lot of fat, so it's easy to render.
Yeah.
Duck fat is a great vehicle for making like a stuffing or something like that. If you're using something where you don't want to use like a vegetable, you have like a vegetable basis, say, like a sauce where you don't want like a big meat flavor, then olive oil, any type of neutral oil works pretty good. Butter works good too. But with butter, you also limit how far you can take your onions too.
Yeah, because the smoke point is low and it's all of that. I just use. Well, I can't say I use pretty much whatever I have on hand, but it does depend on the dish.
Yeah.
Most of the time, if I'm making a gravy, a rice and gravy, or I'm braising something or smothering down something, then I'm cooking that Trinity. I'm probably using olive oil, avocado oil, sometimes vegetable oil. Sometimes I might throw a little animal fat in there. Just kind of depends.
So I'm gonna throw a wild card out: ghee.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Gee's high temperature too. So
coconut oil too.
That's true.
Coconut oil
ghee in there.
If you're doing some type of like a Southeast Asian dish, like a Thai curry or something, coconut oil works great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what dish would you use butter to saute your vegetables, your Trinity in?
Probably that étouffée.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Definitely like an étouffée, something with a lighter,
something with a softer flavor, right?
Yeah.
Something where you want a little bit more delicate. Butter works good.
Yeah,
and like a shrimp étouffée, shrimp.
Yeah, like a shrimp Creole or something like that.
Right.
Crawfish étouffée, shrimp étouffée, something where you want like not as much as a just a softer, richer flavor. Where you want rich anything that you're pairing with cream.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say like that. Think about that end in mouthfeel. The texture of what you're eating when you cook. So like it's gonna be creamy, it's gonna be smooth, it's gonna be velvety. Your gravies are a little bit more, it's just inherently a little bit more oily. It's a little bit, kind of sharp. It's a little different.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So basically, like when you use butter to saute your Trinity, you're going to be using it on proteins that are not high in fat, right?
Yeah, that's typically true.
So proteins that produce more fat, you want to use like an avocado oil. You want to use like that olive oil, those kinds of things, because it has a richness already in a fat in that protein that's going to be,
That's a really good point, because you're browning and then you throwing your Trinity in there and you kind of,
right.
Yeah, because
butter has a great flavor on its own. So you want to just kind of enhance that butter flavor with those proteins that are more delicate in flavor versus the higher in fat proteins like your beef or your pork. Those things have such great flavor that's going to be extracted, and kind of that oil is going to just carry that flavor throughout the whole dish.
Butter. I think butter, like seafood dishes, definitely just seafood.
For
just
sure.
I mean, that's just the lighter proteins. It also works with lean chicken too.
Yeah.
You're doing a lean chicken dish.
Yeah.
Butter would probably be preferred over oil.
Low in fat. Yeah.
Low in fat.
KCP, that's a great point. That was a really good nugget of the why behind some of the things that we do.
And that's the
that
crazy
you don't
thing
think about.
Right.
We all do that. We all naturally gravitate to butter with our lighter dishes, like our étouffée, like our shrimp étouffées, our shrimp dishes. We all use butter. Like when I cook like a shrimp dish, it's typically always butter, but I never really even thought about it that hard.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that question. Like, did we know that already?
No.
Or is that something our ancestors just told us, oh, no, baby, that's not going to go with that. You do this.
They right over your shoulder, right?
All the time.
No, like the
Appreciate
shrimp,
y'all.
The shrimp dish I cook at your house, the shrimp with the leeks, man, that's all butter.
Yeah.
I just went to butter. I said, I'll just eat butter. I was like, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, oh, butter, shrimp butter, crawfish butter, fish butter.
It was slamming too.
Yeah, it was pretty good, man. That came out way better than I thought.
I literally was talking about this today with you, Barbecue Brand. Like, we do this podcast because we want to understand the why behind things, right? Why do we do certain things? And we just figured this out. We just talked this out. This is why I love doing this podcast.
I know.
Never thought about that.
Me either. And it just came to us right as we were talking.
It's just partially like that's how we grew up. Butter was using certain things, but we never really did it. Why?
You never questioned it. That's just how it always was. But the whys here, like this up. It just makes sense.
Yeah, I brought this up on the news the other day when we did the segment with when I did the segment with Al, and I told him about when we were talking about barbecue. I don't want people just to blindly follow what I say when I talk about the technique and how to cook. I want you to understand the why behind we're doing every single step, because everything means something, regardless of whether you know it does or not. It means something.
Yeah,
so
we just proved that tonight.
Yep, absolutely. That was awesome.
No, I didn't. It's just so true, because like butter, like with seafood dishes, like the butter picks up. There's something about it. It's probably the emulsifying properties of butter. It picks up the flavor of those proteins really well. Yeah, better than an oil does.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe there's some scientific thing. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. But maybe there's something behind that. But butter is a great emulsifier for making sauces. I mean, like if you're making a sauce, you throw like a couple tablespoons of cold butter in there, man, you'll make a really quick, easy sauce. It comes together super easy. Mm-hmm. But butter is it just works. I don't know. It just works for seafood dishes. Yeah. But like for things like vegetable dishes, typically I gravitate towards olive oil.
Yeah.
I think the flavor works really good with that. When I make like things that are heavily tomato based, I'd use olive oil. I mean, maybe it's my thing. Just that's what the Italians use, but I just think that
maybe so. It's
but
fairly mild and neutral in flavor. It's
right.
Neutral flavored oil, you know.
But when I like to make like beans or something like that, like I typically use like olive oil. I was like, I don't know, I just gravitate to olive oil sometimes.
I just keep hearing that chef in my head, barbecue brand.
Who?
You're a little pasta chef.
Oh, shout out Chef Luigi at Sal's Blue in Bellagio, Italy. My man. He said I make pasta like a genius. Y'all gotta go watch the shorts. Go to our page, like, subscribe, and all of those things. Comment, but you gotta watch the shorts.
Like a genius.
Yeah. Right. So I don't know, but the butter is that's such a great point. I never even thought about it. I never cook a shrimp dish with oil.
Yeah, it just
except maybe if I'm searing shrimp, I'll cook it with oil. That's about it because I need the temperature.
But that's different. You're just searing it. You're not like making an actual dish.
If I'm a blacken some shrimp, but think about that. You're trying to get a different flavor profile out of those shrimp.
Exactly.
No, I'm blackening some shrimp and trying to make some tacos. I'm throwing some oil in the pan, searing that off, you know.
But yes, I'm not trying to make shrimp in a sauce.
No,
a sauce. I need the.
It's not a complete dish that you're making when you sear the shrimp, because you're taking it out of that oil and you're putting that shrimp in something else.
Yeah, the reaction is you want the brown on the protein. The carrot.
Yeah. Wow.
Cool. That's awesome.
The more you know. The more you know.
You're all welcome.
Yeah. Oh, we need to talk about this. This is something I'm real picky on. The size of your dice for your Trinity. Like a really rough chop on your vegetables for like Louisiana cooking is a big no-no. Me personally, I prefer fine diced. Many people like medium. That works too. You are not going to get the flavor extraction out of your Trinity or mirepoix if you have a really rough chop, unless you're doing something that has a super long cook time, like a braise. Doesn't matter as much. But when we're making like things like gravies in Louisiana style gravy, you have to chop these things at least medium dice.
Yeah.
Finer is preferably. The more surface area you have on your dice, the better, the more flavor extraction you're going to get. You are going to create more flavor with a finer dice than you will with a medium chop.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to throw any names out there, but there's somebody on YouTube that claims to have expertise in Southern cuisine that chops his vegetables like he about to make some fajitas. I'm just saying. I actually think his chop is too big for fajitas.
It is.
It is, correct. Look, when you have chunks of bell pepper the size of $50, that shit makes no sense, son.
No, this dude like quarters bell peppers.
Yeah, right.
Throws it in the pot.
Look.
Oh, my stomach bubbling.
Look,
yo, this not you. Like I'm telling people, you're missing the point of the Trinity when you do stuff like that. The point of the Trinity is to sacrifice the vegetables to the dish. You look, you cook them to death, you murder them.
That pun intended?
No, but you cook these things to death. They sacrifice their soul to the dish, man. That's what they do. They give up everything. Their essence goes into the dish. They're not seen. They're just felt. They're like you don't see it.
Preach.
If it's my religion, we about to make some sacrifices tonight.
Yeah, look. They sacrifice themselves to the dish, man. They're gone. It's just the soul is left into them. You don't see them.
Alima.
Exactly.
They Shang Tsung the soul out of those vegetables. You can't rush. Man, we have all, let me tell you something. We have all been there where we have somebody has cooked a pot of something and you get you a bowl and you get a nice scoop and you just got a big old chunk of celery in there, a big old chunk of onion.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
no, you're fucking it up. Let's just say it. You're missing the point. You're totally missing the point.
Somebody pulling that frozen bird's eye, chopped up stuff out the freezer that's not even really chopped up, and just throwing that.
That's not a full sacrifice. That's not a full sacrifice.
You must sacrifice.
You half-assing.
They
will not accept your sacrifice.
Those vegetables, they're like cooked to death. You cook those things until they give up their essence to the dish. They should not be. They should not be seen.
They gotta give up the ghost.
Exactly. There should only be like the onions. Like those onions should be barely noticed in there. You don't want to see chunks of onion in your gumbo.
Yo,
you want them. Hey, when you finish cooking them vegetables down, you want them things singing Bone Thugs in Harmony. See, you at the crossroads. Look, you want them cooked that much?
Look, you want them just like Uncle Charles, just like
I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all.
Uncle Charles, y'all. Look, Angel of Death comes up to him, takes them off. That's what you want.
Yo, we gotta do a thug onion.
Bone.
Oh man, I'm gonna try to put so much B-roll in here.
Yeah, man. Look, no, it's the sacrifice of the dish. The onions are not there to be noticed.
No,
they're not. They're not there to be noticed.
No, they are
angel investors.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't come to the meetings. It's over. They just.
Maybe the whole reason why this is called the Trinity is because those vegetables cook to death and they go to heaven after this.
Look.
It kind of works, right?
Hey,
I guess. Look, you could say that. You could say they got raptured to the sauce. The sauce is heaven. Whatever. I don't know.
Oh Lord.
It's like. You have to think about this, like a étouffée is a vegetable based sauce. The vegetables make up the sauce.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
yeah.
It's true.
That's very true.
I'm having like a vision of like the each individual Trinity, ingredient walking the plank into the gumbo pot.
I also wanted to mention that peppers, you can substitute peppers for like the green bell pepper. If you don't like green bell pepper, use a poblano. Use a yellow pepper. Yellow peppers work really great in seafood dishes. I think yellow and orange and red. All those work. Poblanos work. Jalapenos work. They all have the same basic thing. They're all peppers. Mm-hmm. So if you don't like, I haven't used a green bell pepper anymore. I use poblanos pretty much exclusively because that's what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They work. They work.
Did that recently.
They work just as good. It's all about what you have access to.
And a world champion gumbo cook-off agrees with me. He uses poblanos. I can't remember the name of the guy. He uses poblanos instead of green peppers too.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, it's the same flavor profile. It's just not as bitter.
I've been on this. I've been on this train. I've been on this train for a long time. I've been doing this since like 2007. So I'm just saying. I did it first.
Oh, Lord.
I was first. I have no proof of that, but I'm going to say I was first.
Okay, Ray J.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, are we saying poblanos are Kim Kardashian or something?
No. Keep her out of this. Keep her out of this.
Lord.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the little end quote of the night, I don't know who it's from, but I thought it was very fitting. Real cooking is more about following your heart than following recipes. So I thought that was good.
That's a great quote.
Yeah. So
love it.
All right, guys, this has been a great fun. It's nice to be back from our little break, and I think
a break. No, let's not a break. Look, this is more than a break. These talking about natural disasters, injuries. Stories that cross oceans, continents, mountain ranges.
Yeah.
And injuries that happen on basically the ruins of antiquity. I mean, this is the kind of level stuff that we had.
Florence,
just crazy, man. I mean, like we had a freak derecho that came through that stretch like 800 miles across the South that just came and just knocked everything down in Houston. It's just been nuts. And then we're just getting over a hurricane. My shout out to all the people that are still struggling out power in Houston.
Yep.
Center Point sucks. They're the green bell pepper of the energy providing world.
Bro.
Damn.
Basic as fuck. Land on that shit.
Calling them the green bell pepper is giving them way too much credit.
Well, look, they're garlic. That's what they are.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
They're like garlic from 1995 that's still on the shelf in the back.
Look,
like
they're
all
garlic.
dusty.
That
That
garlic,
thing is
dude.
orange. It's so old.
It's kind of like garlic,
around
but
the
not
rim.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It rusted too.
They suck.
That lid rusted. Anyway.
Y'all do better.
Yes, do better.
Do better.
Anyway.
Like Center Point especially. Do better.
All right. All right. Well, until next time, you guys. This has been fun. And everybody out there, keep stirring
Peace
that
out.
pot. Peace.
Hashtag it's just big me. King Onion, baby.
There you go.
Peace.